All right.
Hi and welcome to the Flatback 4 podcast with me, Andy McGuire. Joining me, of course, is Scott Eaglen. And now, wait a minute, who's that down there? Oh, it's a special guest. Hello, Mr. Jake Quickenden.
What's up, buddy? Good?
Oh, yeah, we're good, man. We're good. How's things your end? You all right?
I'm knackered. I'm in panto.
I know you're in panto.
You know all about
I actually
panto.
do. Spoiler alert, Jake is in panto with my other half.
Yeah.
And he's actually playing a part that I've played before, so you stealer.
Yeah.
Put me out of work this Christmas.
I'm playing the part that you and Matt met and fell in love with.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. I did meet my future missus and this wife, and she's actually sat wrapping presents in front of me as we do this podcast. So that's 2020 for you. Right. I've got it. Listen, there's a big elephant in the room, Scott, because Jake is a massive Man United fan. And there was a little game that happened just today at Old Trafford.
You didn't tell me this. You didn't tell me this.
Well, I was. Do you know what? If I'm being honest, Jake, me and Jake have been having a little WhatsApp. You know, we were having a little bit of banter, and I was like, "Oh, I'll get the tissues ready for you." And I thought this is going to come back and bite me in the ass. And sure enough, Leeds lost 6-2.
They didn't just lose.
You know,
they didn't just lose.
Well, all right. Whoa. But let's just
right. If you're, I'm going to stop
right?
you before you start going possession this and fucking possession that. You got spanked, mate.
Listen, we did. What? They were clinical, and that's one thing that me and Scott we were texting, didn't we, mate?
Yeah.
We said the top level. If you don't take your chances, you're gonna get. And it doesn't matter whether Man United have been on a good run or bad run. There is players in that team that if they do hit it that day, and they take the chances, which is what they did. But I was impressed with McTominay, man. I mean, he
kind of player that you didn't think would be hitting the target is McTominay.
Not 2 goals in 3 minutes.
Mate, he was class. Honestly, I've always rated him.
Well, I mean, do you know the story with him though? The fact that he was like 5'8", and then he went away one summer. They nearly let him go, and then he grew, didn't he? Like 4 inches, and then he grew another 3, and they decided to keep him. But he and Solskjaer. Before I get onto Solskjaer, Jay, I want your opinion on him. But the McTominay Fred / Pogba debate, he seems to sit with the two.
Yeah.
Pogba can't. We don't know what's going on with Pogba. We don't know whether he wants to be there. He doesn't. His agent is just. Yeah. Well, we all know what he's like.
Yeah.
For you though, would you stick with the Fred McTominay, or are you a Pogba fanboy? You know.
I'm a Fred McTominay.
Like the cool kids.
I'm a Fred McTominay. Yeah. I
think they've been
Pogba
called.
Bring anything to the team.
No,
he brings nothing to me. Let's not we can't lie about it. On his day, and technically, he's one of the best midfielders in the world, not just in the Prem, in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He has a good game every 15 games, mate. And you can't be doing that for Man United. I'd play Van der Beek over him as well.
Yeah, he's not going to. What do you reckon to Van der Beek? Because we've seen a bit of him, and we saw a little bit of him last year. When they signed him, we were saying, "Whoa, that's a nice little piece." That he look, very rare that these Ajax players come and they're not technically good, but he can't seem to get a look in. Now,
I think there's going to be a bit of a settling process for him. He looks such a good player when he's on the ball, but not just on the ball, off the ball, his movement. He plays off one touch, which I think what Solskjaer's trying to make United do is play off one touch, and he fits into that perfect. Then you've obviously got Fernandes, who, for me, Fernandes is, I reckon, the best midfielder in the Prem at the minute. But he's somebody that's.
Well, I think De Bruyne might have to have something.
De Bruyne might have an argument there.
De Bruyne might have something.
Nah, I'm not. De Bruyne is top draw. Don't get me wrong. He's one of my favourite midfielders, and he plays for City, who I hate. But I just think Fernandes is so good because he's not scared to take a risk. He gives the ball away a lot, and I'm not too bothered about it because he gives it away in the right areas. Whereas Pogba loses the ball in stupid areas, and then his big lanky legs can't be asked to get back and track back, and it annoys me.
Where would you be without Fernandes?
Probably
seriously.
Bottom, to be honest.
He's completely changed.
Go on, Scott.
No, I was just going to say, he's completely changed, hasn't he, since he came in? You forget that he's only been here 12 months and he's completely changed, hasn't he?
Well, less than 12 months. He didn't make his debut till February 1st or something.
And I think United's team's built around him now. You can't leave him out.
No.
I do think we need a central striker. I like Cavani, but he's getting on a bit. Rashford's top draw, but we need somebody. We need that bloody big blonde kid, the Milky Bar kid. What's his name?
Alfie Haaland's son. Yeah, I mean Erling Haaland. Well, Erling Haaland is a Leeds fan as well. He was born in Leeds. I think we were born in the same hospital actually. So I mean, he's a monster. But I mean, they tried to get him, didn't they? And he chose Dortmund, and I mean, you could argue that was a great move for him. He's gone on to score an absolute hatful of goals there at the minute. I mean, he is an absolute monster, and he's so different to his dad. I mean, we watched his dad, didn't we, in that Leeds midfield, and he was nothing like he's nothing like him at all. The Jadon Sancho thing with Man United, were you good that you didn't get him, or do you think going forward wise? I think Man United are all right going forward. It's there.
Honestly, I wasn't bothered. Like, when obviously to get him would have been nice. It's a boost. It's kind of a bit of like boasting. We can say we signed Sancho. Do you know what I mean? But for me, like, is he any better than Rashford and Martial? Probably not. On par, maybe.
Martial's are so hot and cold though. Martial can be world class if he wanted to, but he blows in and out, and he does some stuff and you go, God, what a player! And then he'll go missing. A bit Pogba-esque, man. You're going to put Martial in that bracket. You've got to put Martial in. You look at. I remember his first game. I was in France at my mum's place watching it, and he got the ball on the left and he drove in. I think Martin Tyler almost lost it, and you thought, oh God, Man United have done it again here. They've signed a worldie. But then he's this, and then he's that, and he's this, and then he's consistent.
You see what I think about? I think a lot of people say that he's inconsistent because he doesn't score every game. But what he has brought to his game, which I've really liked, is he holds the ball up a lot better than he used to. And if he is going to play that central striker role, we need somebody to hold it up. His movement's nowhere near on par with Cavani's and stuff like that, but he's not the same kind of player as Cavani. So that's why I feel like we do need a central striker and let him play on the left and let him run at players. And he might not score every game and he might have a bit of a nut on cold, but as long as he does his job, then fair enough. Like, Sancho probably wouldn't have scored as much in the Prem than he does in Bundesliga. He wouldn't.
It's hard to tell that though, isn't it? You can't really make that judgment because he's such a
talented player.
You know,
the league's not as good.
It's not as good, but it's a very good league. It's a good league because all right, let's just look at this then. Borussia Dortmund, they've lost the last couple of games.
Yeah.
Bayern, they are a bit of a freaky team, and I think, is it 48 games have gone? I've seen it. It's ridiculous. But they do get the odd like random 3-3 draw, and then like they do. I don't think it's like England where like all of a sudden Brighton can turn up or Villa can beat Arsenal 3-0. I don't think it's quite like that. There's the Premier League that only has that. But when you just want to go back to that Rashford and Martial thing, if Rashford is on the left and Martial's up top, but like you're on about maybe the way that they play. Where is Rashford's best position? Because for me, he's a left and he comes in.
Yeah.
So where do you see him?
I see him on the left, but it's like when he came on against Leipzig and changed the game through the middle, and he was absolutely class.
So where would you play him? Where would you play him?
I would play him central for a bit and see how he does. Start Martial on the right or left, probably left, obviously, and maybe start Greenwood on the right. I like Greenwood. I think he's going to be a beast. Reminds me a bit of the old Ronaldo.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think he reminds me a bit of Eric Jemba.
Jemba.
A bit like Kleberson, yeah.
What the hell? So bad the name didn't slice.
Bebe.
Bebe. God, do you remember Bebe? Jesus. Where's he? He must be selling cars in Portugal or something.
But it's like Daniel James. He ain't really got a sniff in. Played him against Leeds, scored, looked quite sharp, looked nice. Could be a good player, a little bit lightweight maybe.
I mean, speed
rapid.
He hadn't scored in 34 games before yesterday, had he? And then he scored yesterday.
We were nailed on that we were going to score. Yeah, nailed on. I mean, Scott always says, them players like that, you always said it about Walcott, is he too fast sometimes? When you think of the feet too fast. Because I think Sterling can sometimes still suffer with that. He gets into some great positions, but I still don't think Sterling, I don't think his first touch and his end product is still, it's better than it was, and Guardiola's massively improved it. But Sterling can sometimes have that. I mean, it's funny, but listen, they give us a pacing yesterday. I think you wouldn't have been shocked if that game had been 6-5. Leeds, we've conceded the most, but we also do score a lot as well. We give Liverpool a fright, and I think we're going to be okay. You, as an outsider looking at Leeds, what have you made to Leeds' start? Do you like the fact that these newly promoted teams are attacking the big boys and really going at them?
I do. I enjoy. As a United fan, I shouldn't like Leeds really, but I do, and I've lived in Leeds, and I love the area, and I love Leeds myself.
Scotty's a Leeds fan.
I like the manager. I like the manager. I think he's great. And I like the way they attack. I think they will be fine. When they came up, you had a few of your boys saying that you're going to finish top 6 and all that. I think you kind of...
No, we never. No.
There was
they were in a minority, Jake. They were in a minority.
There was, mate. There was. And there was. Me and Scott, we said, calm down. Let's finish 15th and have a good season. I'd be well happy with that.
And I think you're not too far behind because, like I say, you do have good possession. You play a lot of good football. Bamford's been a bit of a revolution. Like, everyone wanted to get rid of him, and he's scoring for fun. I think. Did you want to get rid of him?
Of course,
I just thought he was.
You did.
No, I did. I tell you what I didn't like about Bamford. I always admired his ability to work hard, and his hold-up play. And sometimes you thought, God, he's unplayable. Sometimes he's a bit like Erling Haaland, and then sometimes he's like. What was his name? That really bad striker. What's he called? Sebastian Heller at West Ham, who's just scored an unbelievable overhead kick. Sometimes he looks like Heller, sometimes he looks like Haaland. But I've got to say, and listen, and that's a credit to Bamford because he's been passed along, so many teams. Fair play to him. We've got a system that he works to, and he's abiding to it, and he scored some absolute pearlers. I can't take it away from him. Really? And I've got to admit, you've got to be bold enough to say, fair play. He's turned my opinion. But just flicking back onto the manager, I know you're on about Bielsa, and we know what stature Bielsa's got in football. Yeah. But for you, is Solskjaer your man, or is he just Mr. Nice Guy holding the seat for a Pochettino, or what?
What, like? I change my mind every game, mate. I think I'm like...
Mate, most Man United fans do.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like most United fans because sometimes I think the players seem to love him, and that's important. The players seem to really like him, and that's important. But sometimes I really question what he's doing with the tactics and stuff like that. To beat Leipzig 5-0 and then go to their place and totally change the team around and get spanked, it's like... Are you making the right choices? Is it a learning curve? But can you have somebody on a learning curve at Man United?
Yeah. Do the players like him too much, though, Jake? Do they like him too much, the players? Are they too matey with him?
I think there probably is a little bit, but he's showing a bit of bollocks on him by dropping the Pogbas and that. Do you know what I mean? He is showing a bit of bollocks. So I'm hoping that we get through this season. I don't think we're going to win the league, even though we're sitting quite nicely at the minute.
Mate, if you win your game in hand, you're second. It's bizarre.
Yeah, 2 points behind Liverpool. What a weird season. I think the no fans and all that shit. I think it's playing a lot. I still think Liverpool will win the league.
I do as well. I do.
I think that they're too strong, man. And it's annoying. Even they've got players out, and they looked amazing against Palace. They brought Salah on, and he just ran the show. Do you know what I mean? So, for me, I still think Liverpool will win it, but I think United will get top 3 this year. And then we just got to sign a couple of players. We don't have to start I don't care about being linked with every man and his dog, and we're going to bring Ronaldinho out of retirement, and he's going to start for us. I just want to get a solid back.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's in Paraguay, isn't he?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. A solid centre back and a striker, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've been saying this about Leeds as well. I think Spurs made that mistake, didn't they, when they sold Bale and they bought 7 players in, and it just didn't work. Look at Bruno Fernandes. He come into that team and he transformed you. I think he's got Player of the Month. What is it? Three times out of the last 4 months, or 5 out of the last 6. I mean, sometimes that one player can be that thing. But you made a good point there, Joe. You're on about, sometimes they play well, but the players have got to take responsibility, and it can't all fall on Solskjaer. Like, Bielsa can set his team up, and sometimes players just let you down. They have a bad game, they have a stinker. And Phillips had a stinker yesterday, and what's his face had a stinker for us. Click had a stinker. Yeah. And if you can't just run with your man, forget footballing ability. Me and Scott say this all the time. If you've got no footballing ability, but you say, look, run with him. Just track your runners everywhere. Look at Kante. He'll follow you. You're having a wee, and Kante's looking over your shoulder. It's like, what are you fucking doing, mate? You know, like, sometimes that's your job in a team.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I always used to think this, like, when I used to play, I used to prefer playing against better players because sometimes you'd play somebody that couldn't even put the boots on the right feet. But they're so annoying. They chase after you. They get in your way. It totally knocks you off your game. So I'd much rather somebody that works hard. And I think that's why Fred starts a lot, because he does work hard. Fair enough.
He's grown on me. Grown on me as a player.
Not a Bruno Fernandes. He's not going to pick out a killer pass. But he does his job. And sometimes I'd rather him and McTominay in there, because you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a bit of grit. McTominay is a manny boy, and he puts it, and you can see that he loves the club. Do you know what I mean?
0-1-6-1 Manny on the map, yeah.
Is it one of them? Manny on the map, Bugsy Malone. But like, it's one of them. So I think sometimes your players can just have a stinker, and I think United have had that a lot. And the United of old were consistent, were so consistent. Every game you played, you knew that they were gonna not concede many. They'll always score in the 80th or 90th minute, and they're consistent under Ferguson. And I think we need to get that under Solskjaer. I think he'll be given a season, and if he doesn't, they'll bring Poch in. Yeah. But I also think we just need to get the owners out there.
Well, it's like every person you speak to, it's owners, isn't it? You know, you talk about, I mean, look at Watford, they're on the 96th manager in the last 4 years. And if you whoever you're going to bet on, just say Kiko, Flores or Xavi, and you're probably going to have the right idea of who's going to come in, you know. But it's bizarre. I mean, owners have become such a big part of the game, and, you know, as much as it can help you, I mean, look what he's done at Man City. He's built up not just a club there. Look at the foundations that he's putting in for the future, which you've got to admire that. I mean, the Glazers, they came in, but they have kind of, but now they're not anywhere in sight, are they really? It's all kind of a bit.
You never see it.
It's all a bit
you
weird.
Never see them. Like, for me, I don't know what it's like being a Leeds fan for the transfer market, but for United, it's just so frustrating because we get linked with everyone. Every big game, and then one of them comes off, or it doesn't even come off. Like, who was we linked with this year? Bloody everyone in
Sancho. It was Sancho. That was big. 100 million. It was. Is it going to happen? Who else, Scott?
Well, everybody. They were linked with everybody. Everybody were a free agent, to be honest.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah.
Who was that?
Yeah, that's true.
Ulpachen, whatever his name is, from Leipzig, who Rashford tore him a new one, centre back.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. They were linked with him, and as well, I think
Grealish.
Well, they were linked with him, and he's been Grealish. But I tell you, who looks the part who I think would be good. Kim Bemba at PSG. I don't know if you've seen him. He's an absolute man mountain. He made I don't know if you can see it. Go on YouTube. He made a tackle the other night. I don't know how he made it, but you were looking and you go, God, that's what you want in your team. The sheer will of determination to get back. Because I'm an Harry McGuire fan, but he's a ball playing centre back, and I think if he had someone solid who was like ready to like go to war, I think it would help McGuire. But he looks at the side of him and sees Lindelof and goes,
I rate Lindelof.
Dear,
like, do you know what United? The centre back, they're missing that bit of pace. A bit of pace that Rio Ferdinand had. He could get back, and he was with Vidic, who were dead or a brick. Do you know what I mean?
So, but look what I've just said though, Jay. That's Vidic and Ferdinand. Pace and you know, Rio was a good footballer. Vidic wasn't asked about, you know, getting a 50-yard pass. Vidic, Rio, take it away. So
but they've got a bit of pace, haven't they?
They're a funny team.
They've still got Eric Bailly though, haven't they? He's got a little bit of pace, but he just can't get in team.
He's just injury prone, isn't he?
He's a bit injury prone.
He is.
Do you think that?
I would have liked to have seen him get 20 consistent.
Yeah. Do you think the expectations have dropped since Fergie left? Do you think that Man United fans are more realistic nowadays than they were before?
I think we've had to drop. We've had to, because we've had such a stinker since he's left, to be honest. And it just proved what an amazing manager he was, really, because he had the same, when he left the same team, really. And then we were shy. So, I think United don't expect to be winning the league, which is mad, because I've been a United fan. I'm only a United fan because my old man was a United fan. So I kind of grew up And when I was growing up, it was like watching the Champions League final when bloody Sheringham and Solskjaer scored, and my dad's crying in the living room, and he's he's just saying anything's possible with this team, blah blah blah. We're never going to lose, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, and maybe it is a bit of a glory supporter, but I supported him so young. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know anything else but United winning, and they were unbeatable.
Yeah, no, I know. And I suppose when you look, we were talking about this, me and Scott. Like, sometimes when a manager is there that long, is it a bit of a burden to a club these days now? Because if you go in short and sweet and you do 4 years, you leave a lasting memory and the expectation. But you look at Wenger now, and you look at that Arsenal team, and you think, God, they were doing quite good actually. I know that they tailed off, but they were still Champions League. That transition when you've had a manager for over 10 years, it seems like people can't recover, especially if you've had a bit of success as well from it.
Yeah.
So, Man U, I think we're always going to struggle. Arsenal, I always think we're going to struggle. Chelsea, on the other hand, have been consistent because their managers never last more than 3 years.
Yeah.
So if it works, I don't know whether that might be the new thing. You know, I don't know what you think, Jake, on that. But
I feel like Frank's going to be there for a while now, though.
Yeah, a while though, 5 years maybe. I don't know. Is he going to be then groomed for an England if he is successful there? Do you know what I mean? Maybe we won't see the 20 years. I don't think we will. I think that's gone now.
I think it's a generation game, isn't it? Like, I think Fergie stayed there. It was a generational thing. You've now got Mourinho wanting to go to every single club and prove that he can do it anywhere, and people want to move on, and there's no really massive loyalty anymore. Where as you had your Fergies who obviously just loved United through and through and never wanted to leave them. I couldn't imagine Chelsea offering Alex Ferguson a massive payday and him going, yeah, I'll go. I'll
no,
go.
I know.
Wouldn't have happened.
I know. It won't happen again. And like you say, I think, because you're 32, aren't you, Jay? You're our age. So, you know, like I'm 33, you're 31, I Scott, 32. You know, we're all in that era of that 90s where football was amazing, wasn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, we were brought up in a really good era of football where there was lots of challenges. Arsenal, Man United, then Chelsea came through. Leeds were Champions League semi-finalists, and we've all had a bit of a crash. Leeds out for 16 years. You then lost Fergie. But at the minute, how exciting is football? And it's such a shame that there's no fans there to see it at the minute.
I'm loving the fact that anyone can beat anyone, but I just think it's shit at the minute.
It's hard, and it's a hard watch.
And it's without the fans, it's just horrible. Like, and I think when the fans get back in, you'll see another massive shift. Yeah. And I think you'll see the promoted clubs getting spanked even more. Maybe not Leeds. And you'll see the likes of Liverpool and Man City, Chelsea pull away a little bit because the fans are back in and they won't lose at home like they could possibly do. Do you know, at a minute?
But do you not think that Man United have probably excelled with no fans because there's no expectations there from the crowd? Because there's no crowd on your back. You know what I mean?
That's the only team that probably has. United love it. That's why they're buzzing about being in Tier 4 there, because they fucking don't want the fans back. Because they only perform when there's no fan.
God, Tier 4. I don't even know where we are in the world at the minute. But listen, Jay, I want to talk a little bit about. I want to just move on. I just want to talk about. You know, last week we watched you do the full Monty on Ice. First of all, good experience. Was it everything that you thought it were going to be and a little bit more?
Yeah. I've never been shy about getting me cock out anywhere, to be honest. So it was.
Should have seen him on WhatsApp half hour ago. Jesus, didn't see his face.
Yeah, it was fine. You know what? It's a show that I've always wanted to do, just from my past experiences with cancer. I've always wanted to do it, and it was a perfect show because being in the public eye, you always get judged before you're even known. And I wanted to do a show that wasn't really heavily edited. It was just you and a story of what you've been through with cancer, and that's why I wanted to do it, to get my story across, to help anyone that's struggling with that shit, and can basically say, like, you can go through the worst of it and come out the other side. Like,
and I honestly, Jay, when I was watching it last week, you know, me and Nat were watching it, and we were, you know, everyone's stories had something behind it, but you know, I mean, yours obviously did. I mean, your dad and your brother. I was totally, I was enthralled with it, and I couldn't, you know, you start picturing yourself there, and we've all had an effect with cancer, and I think, like us talking, you know, lads, And seeing you guys just being so open about it, you as a group of lads, we're 31, 32, there's that stigma, and a bit like with the football thing, we're hearing people talking about it more now, and I think it's such a good thing that we can do it, because unfortunately it's in the world, it's not going to go away. But you talking about it last week, and I'm an emotional guy. We're very similar, me and you, Jay. I was watching you, and I was crying, I was upset, and Natalie were crying, and it really does hit you. But then it also starts making you think. The song's out today, isn't it? The single that you sang.
I'm probably going to get sued for it, but I'm not really.
Who cares, man? It's brilliant. It's for a great cause. So the actual charity. Give us the name of the charity of what you're doing it for.
Sarcoma UK. I've done it for. My little brother passed away of osteosarcoma, so it's a relatively small charity. And sarcoma as a whole of a cancer is quite an aggressive kind of cancer that doesn't get a lot of kind of spotlight shone on it enough. So I just wanted to look. I'm not stupid. I know I'm not frigging Justin Bieber, but I wanted to try and do something nice. If I can raise a couple of grand for a small charity, and they can maybe buy a few things, or they can help a few kids out that are suffering. More often than not, if you get osteosarcoma, you usually have your leg amputated or your knee taken out. So if a couple of grand can help a couple of kids out, then I've kind of done my job, and that's what I want to do. And I think a lot of celebs, I hate that word because I never really see myself, but a lot of celebs get a lot of stick, but it's because you never really see the nice things that they do, because the press always focus on shit.
No, and do you know what, Jake? Because I worked with Colleen's sister last year. I worked with Anne Nolan, and obviously Anne, and we saw it on the ITV thing. Anne and the whole sisters, bless them. I worked with Colleen 10 years ago, and there's such a lovely. The Nolan family are just they are just the nicest people in the world, and. I'm blessed to have worked with two of them, and I'm sure that the rest of them, if I could have had a chance, they'd have all been the same. And you just think, your dad and your brother and Colleen and the sisters, it's so out there, and we talk about it. And even in the football world now, you're getting TalkSport really covering these type of subjects, and I think it's really important that that we're talking about. We're a relatively new platform, and having you on here, we want to raise that. And if there's any lads watching, you've got to check yourself. You were saying it in the show. You've got to do it. You've got to do it, because if you can get it early, it's
stupid not to, because not only does it affect us as guys not checking ourselves, you got to think of the kind of domino effect it has on your family. And I've seen my family be totally crushed by this. And this is not because nothing was checked or anything like that. This is just the sheer fact that cancer just fucking went through my family and took everyone out. But it's not the crying, talking about mental health, checking yourself, talking about all these things. There shouldn't be a stigma behind it. It don't make you any less of a man if you have a big cry over the fact that something's gone wrong in your life, had a breakup or something like that. It don't make you any less of a man. So
it makes me feel better. I know it sounds crazy, but I feel better. Me and Scott, over the years, man, I actually sent you a picture, didn't I? How many times have me and you had heart-to-hearts at 5 a.m. and we've been able to open up. And I think even if you only have one person that's there for you, that is that your massage?
Wait, I'm going to answer it right there. I got boxes, so sorry about this. Wait, I'm going to
just for anyone watching, Jake, he's working so hard in Panto that he's decided to book a sports massage, because he's a year younger than myself, and he's decided that he needs a bit of a rub down.
Not wrong with that, mate.
No, but we have those scrap. We've talked over the years, haven't we? No, there isn't. And Jake on the show last week was extremely open and honest, and I think that the footballers in the world, whether they're gay footballers or whether they're suffering with cancer, there's got to now be a point where we come together and we just start talking about it. If there's a gay footballer out there, if there's a person who's suffering with cancer that's out there, dementia's a big thing now in football.
Someone that I really
just talk about it.
Was Gareth Thomas.
Oh yeah.
Because not only had it affect.
Oh yeah, Gareth.
Family, he's come out as gay, when he played rugby, and he got so much respect for it. I'm very surprised that no other major kind of Premiership players or anything like that has been able to do it. But I think they're just scared, man. And I think football's a lot different to rugby in the fact that the fans are ruthless. And unfortunately, it's not really something that should be looked at by the opposite fans, but it is, and it's just so shit. But hopefully,
and I think when one does, there might be a bit of a trend.
That'll be the open door, man.
But maybe when one does at a young age, maybe like the 22-year-old who's in the prime, you know, Gareth, brilliant what he did, but he was very late on in his career, and then he kind of retired, and you think, oh, you know, if he'd have got that a few years earlier, you know, and you know, I've heard it. I mean, you know, me being in performing arts like you, Jake, you know, we meet gay people and non-binary and it's the range of people I've met in my life that have affected me in like hilarious ways. I mean, you're doing panto right now. It's like, you know, but it's a shame that some people are, you know, narrow-minded on some and that. So that's why I think, especially with the lads thing, we need to be just open and talk about stuff like this. And I really hope that it does continue. I do.
I totally agree, and I think you meet people, and some of the best people I've ever met are people that I never thought I'd maybe be friends with. Do you know what I mean?
Like me and you.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Look, I never thought I'd be friends with someone with such a badly decorated Christmas tree in the background. My massage is here. My massage is here. There's a knock at the door, guys.
Right. Okay. Right. Well, listen. We're gonna wrap. There's only a minute. There's only go let him know that you're coming, and then come and say, "But let's get the massage in. Let's see who it is."
Hey, mate, sorry, I'm just doing a podcast.
Who is it?
Come on. Right.
Is it a boy or a girl?
Get out.
Listen, we're going to wrap it up. Jake, thank you so much for coming on. Look, you might see Jake a little bit more in the future because we're going to have him a bit more part of our show. Jake, I'll see you in a couple of days when I come and watch you. Take it easy. Have a good massage. Scott, we'll finish the podcast off. You get off.
Thank you, mate.
Bye-bye.